Welcome back, King. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this channel I kind of stumbled upon. It was, a lot of guys would probably be like all triggered little bitches about this because there's she's a 304, she's worthless, she's a slut. Because this Cougar here, the Cougar Experience, her channel, she's very upfront about the primary reason why she dates younger men. It's for the sex, right? And then she does a lot of like other surface level things like, oh, they got tight balls, they have tight skin, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of guys, especially older guys like myself, might like, oh, you're such a little hoe and everything like that. Just compartmentalize that for a second. I want you, especially if you're a younger man, this is probably why you're listening to this. You're implementing the HOMY strategy. Hook up older, marry younger. Phase one, you're in phase one, you're in your 20s. You're establishing yourself as a male. You need to find out where to find older women to have sex with. Now, this woman, I think, wants to have her cake and eat it too. Like, she wants to date those men. Like, seriously, like, actually, like, in a committed relationship. It seems. I mean, there's probably a lot of cases where, she's, maybe juggling multiple, like, friends with benefits and everything. You want to stay away from the Cougars who want a relationship. No, 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 no. You have a goal in mind. You are going to marry younger at some point. You are a high-value man. High-value men do not bang Cougars. But in your 20s, you're not high value yet. You have to humble yourself and understand that this is the path our culture is kind of forming for us. Older women have a lot more agency than they did before. There are a lot of thirsty young men, so there's a lot of availability for young men with older women. Now, that being said, there's a big testosterone epidemic, partly obesity, microplastics, whatever, but also self-efficacy. They say testosterone is correlated to self-efficacy. So if you don't feel good about yourself, you feel like pretty shitty about yourself, you're going to have lower testosterone. So it's kind of driven by like your feeling and where you are in the social hierarchy. So a lot of men are dejected. They don't have good job prospects. They don't have good. They're talked down to by women in modern feminist culture. They're just not going to feel good about themselves, and their testosterone will suffer. So they actually get early onset ED in their 20s and 30s. Cougars like this, they don't really talk about that aspect. They like to just talk it up that like, oh, they all have high stamina and everything. That's not true at all. There's a lot of young men who have like lower testosterone than I do at 45. I mean, it's pretty sad when you think about it. Anyway, I want to bring up where you can find Cougars, and I'd like to let this nice lady give us an idea of where to find them.
A lot of reasons to date younger men. I mean, like the sex,
okay, she'll go
availability,
into the
connection. You're
connection, whatever. Just ignore it. Ignore it. It's for sex.
Have a relationship with. But I noticed that a lot of my followers happen to be young guys wanting to meet older women. I know that all men. I don't care who you are. I feel like all men want the Cougar experience.
She's getting an empowerment trip.
This
just
video
ignore
is for you
ignore
guys. The first place where you can meet older women is absolutely, of course, on dating apps.
Okay.
Now,
this is pretty
Bumble.
obvious. Anyway, I don't want to, she's just going to talk about online dating, and I think it's pretty straightforward. You use it as an avenue. Don't use it as your only avenue. Use it as like a primary avenue potentially, and probably get into another video about like details on how you can set up an ad appropriately for meeting older women. I might like siphon some of the ideas from this lady. She seems very direct in what she wants, and I think this is a great resource to follow. So definitely consider following her page.
Then reading something or somebody's profile that says, "I have a fetish for older women," like that's not why I'm here. That's not why any woman's here. We don't want to satisfy your fetish. So please don't write that.
Now she has a good point. There's a public and a private message here. Of course, that's the only reason you're going with the older women. She's delusional if she thinks that men are going to commit to her long term. She probably will say, "Oh yes, no, I've had a boyfriend for this long and everything." It happens on the outliers, but the thing is that let's be honest here. Let's be intellectually honest, and it's completely transactional. The relationship is completely transactional. So. The red pillars will call it like the pump and dump and everything. I don't endorse that because there's a lot of effort that goes into trying to hook up with a cougar. So if you're going to get that, you might as well establish something long term. Don't lead her. Don't necessarily lead her on too much. It's okay to kind of like, but if she gets very direct about like wanting a relationship, stop her dead in her tracks. You do not want a relationship with a cougar. Again, she's being delusional. She thinks that younger guys are lining up to be in relationships with her, like a committed relationship.
The second place where you can meet women is through clubs, older women. Now, of course, you're not going to want
like
to join a knitting club or something like that. I mean, you want to attract older women who are active, like me. You don't want to attract an older woman who's like, hobbling through the grocery store. So join a running club, a motorcycle club, a bicycle club, a gardening club. There's a lot of women in gardening club, wine tasting clubs. Heck yeah.
I love these ideas. This woman is genius here. I think that, she's very opportunistic. You can kind of tell just from her vibe, but use that, remember, she's your mentor. And, as a young man, use those resources, regardless of how triggered you might feel about, her feeling of entitlement for getting younger men. Doesn't matter. Compartmentalize it. Think about what your goal is right now. It's to establish those sexual relationships with women where you can learn from them. You can save money not having to date. If she asks you to go out in restaurants, just dump her. Just don't bother with her wanting to transcend into like traditional dating. She's not your girlfriend. She's your F buddy. And don't let her think ever that she's your girlfriend. But the point is here, where she was saying, is running clubs, wine tasting. These are excellent ideas. So look at your local meetups. Look at any of the Facebook social groups. We have plenty of them in my hometown. Identify those interests that align with something women in their 40s to 50s would find appealing. And she enumerated several of them.
You'll meet a lot of women in the wine tasting clubs, or even I belong to a club here in San Antonio where we meet up at various restaurants, and we try new places and try new restaurants for their food and drinks. So
what I like about her also is that she's very masculine in nature. You could tell from the tattoo that's on her arm and like the camo shirt and everything. She's highly sexual, because of that masculine energy she has. So there's definitely an appeal, and it's something that you should look for. If you see a woman who like looks overly feminine, be careful, because the thing is that they may have very, very high standards. They may not have a very direct personality that she has. I mean, like I said, she's direct. She says, I'm in it for the younger men for the sex. And usually you won't hear women saying that. Like the young men that I know, or friends of mine that have done this, they would say, usually they'll be coy about it. They're like, well, yeah, I like younger men, but I like, I get along with older men, younger men. So they kind of hedge their bets and everything. This woman is direct. She's right to the point. She overwhelmingly dates younger men, and she's very upfront about why she does it.
Join a club like that. And then also, you really could meet older women anywhere. I don't have any problems meeting younger men at Home Depot, at Lowe's, at the grocery store, at Target, dog parks. Dog parks are huge. You're going to see a lot of women walking their dog in the dog park. And if you have a dog, it's so easy. You could just strike up a conversation and say, oh, what a cute dog you have. What kind of dog is it? If you're at Home Depot, say, oh, what are you working on? What's your favorite paint color? Or which plants do you think are best in full sunlight?
It's all great.
It's pretty easy. You will have to strike up a conversation.
And what I like with the home improvement store too is that you are also, again, you're going to kind of double down. You're not just going there just to hook up with women. That's maybe the primary reason. But the thing is that you are also maybe you're working on some home projects. If you rent an apartment or whatever, then you could still work on some home projects. And there are plenty of ideas that you can have. And going to those stores, on the weekend, it sure beats kind of like just going clubbing, wasting your money, ingesting empty calories, being hungover all weekend. Remember, you're focused on your goal of marrying younger down the road and going overseas. So your emphasis should not be clubbing and doing so much of the hardcore party. Socialize, but there are many free ways to socialize and still hang out with people your own age. Just be more platonic about it. I mean, maybe once in a while you might run into somebody a woman your own age who wants to date you and everything. That's great. Just go for it. Go for that. But don't court her, because again, you are going to be allocating valuable resources away from your future goals. The Cougars are a freebie. They may not say it. Again, this woman's going to be like, oh, I want the guy to take, this 20-year-old to take me to dinner. She's delusional. Just ignore it. Go for as they say, grab him by the pussy, right? That's what you have to do. And just keep trucking along.
And if you're an introvert, it's going to be kind of tough. But
Sure.
as Matthew Hussey said in one of his videos, and I absolutely agree with him, men have lost the art of initiating conversations with women, and that's just something that you're going to have to.
Right. She has a good point. Women love it when you approach them, especially women who you can identify as not being creeped out by somebody else. So you have to approach it without stupid flattering remarks like you're beautiful, that your eyes and all these other things. Approach it rather platonically, like she talked about the Home Depot or Lowe's kind of thing. What's your favorite color? What kind of project you working on? Things like that are very, very non-intrusive at first, and then you'll observe over time whether she's welcoming and open to communicating with her about other things.
To work on. And if you can, and if you have that ability to create a conversation or strike up a conversation with a woman, well, then you're like light years ahead of all the men out there.
That's right.
The next place where you can meet women is there's gonna be somewhere in your city where older women hang out. I mean, I live here in San Antonio, Texas, and older women hang out at the Pearl or at certain restaurants like Silo or Piatti's, so there's going to be certain restaurants that are known.
I don't know if I agree with this. I mean, unless you're working at a restaurant, I mean, why are you spending money at a restaurant to find older women? Older women have low value. This is where, I agree with what, these techniques, but, again, she's delusional to think that she's high value enough that men are going to spend money going to restaurants who are out of her league from a relationship standpoint. This is like traditional courting stuff. It just doesn't, I don't know if it makes sense so much. But maybe if you're involved with a restaurant somehow, like I said, either you're working at one, or maybe you're going with friends and you're socializing anyway. Okay, maybe there's certain cases where, that could happen. So,
own Cougar hangouts in your city. So you just have to figure out where those hangouts are.
I personally think it's a waste of money.
And then you'll hopefully meet some older women. You can also meet older women through your friends. No, not your mom, because she's probably going to get mad. But you probably know somebody. You might know an older woman at work. Maybe, I don't know, if you're going to college, you might know an older woman at school.
All right, so here's an interesting idea. It brought up a point. I was about to see somebody who was slightly older than me. This is before I went to Peru. And this is when I was still entertaining the possibility of marrying an American woman. Or not marrying, being in a relationship with an American woman. I don't think I was ever going to get married to an American woman ever again. But I met her. She's a little bit older. And we got into good conversation, and she was pretty candid about things. And she said, I think she had dated younger men and everything, but about 10 years younger, not like tremendously younger. But she mentioned that her friend loves younger men, just like this woman, very greedy about having younger men and like very entitled to it. That brought up the idea that, hey, I have a young friend. He's a little down on his luck sexually. Hey, I know somebody, Jane, I'll call her, it's not her name, but Jane, she loves younger men, and I just heard about it from my friend. Go meet her at this event and strike up a conversation. She might be attracted to you. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's great. You know, just through your friend network is helpful, but very indirectly and through some nuance. It might be kind of one of your last options too.
Maybe some of your friends have some older women at their work. I probably wouldn't go for any of your mom's friends because
I agree.
she's probably not going to like that. But you could definitely meet some older women through friends. So there you have it. Those are the top 5 places to meet old.
Anyway, that's about it. I think hopefully it's been helpful, and let me know in the comments what you think. Anything you want to add? Maybe some other way to meet older women. But anyway, take care, Kings.